I'm Audrey. It was a regular Monday at work, and I was knee-deep in analyzing complex money laundering operations and preparing for a major drug trafficking case coordination meeting with federal prosecutors. My mind was focused on the task at hand when, at 4:47 p.m. my personal cell phone rang. On the screen, it showed the name of my sister, Lily. Her voice on the other end was panicked and confused. Audrey, federal marshals just surrounded my office with official vehicles and badges. They're saying I committed federal crimes involving unauthorized use of law enforcement assets. They have warrants for my computers, business records, and financial documents. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Through my office window, I could see other federal agents leaving the building after their daily briefings. I asked, Lily, what specifically are the federal agents telling you? Her voice grew shriller with fear as she replied, they have search warrants for collateral fraud, wire fraud, and violations of federal asset monitoring protocols. They're asking about unauthorized use of federal employee property and potential security clearance violations. I knew exactly what was happening. It all started at our monthly family dinner at my parents' house. Our family, a close-knit bunch, would gather every month for a big meal. That particular Sunday, 26 relatives crowded into the dining room and the adjoining living space. The table was filled with delicious pot roast and mashed potatoes, and the air was filled with the familiar buzz of family conversations about work, weather, and weekend plans. I sat in my usual spot near the kitchen, quietly cutting my meat and listening. My sister Lily, 36 years old, was always full of grand ideas for her business. She had graduated from business school 7 years ago with an MBA but had yet to achieve sustainable business success. She was dressed in an expensive blazer and had carefully applied makeup, even for this casual family dinner, maintaining that polished look she'd cultivated since graduation. Lily tapped her wine glass with a butter knife to get everyone's attention. I have some incredible news to share, she announced. My consulting business is finally getting the major expansion opportunity I've been working toward for months. The table fell silent, except for the soft clinking of silverware. I, at 32, had learned to recognize that confident tone she used when announcing her so-called entrepreneurial breakthroughs. She continued, the market demand for digital marketing consulting has exploded. Small businesses are desperate for professional guidance on social media strategy, online advertising, and brand development. It's a completely underserved market with huge growth potential. My cousin Ethan, who worked in corporate sales and thought he knew a lot about business development, nodded approvingly from across the table. That's smart positioning, Lily. Digital marketing is where the money is. What's your expansion strategy? Lily smiled, as if she'd been waiting for this question. I'm scaling up to handle corporate clients, like regional restaurant chains, medical practice groups, and professional service firms. The contract values are much higher, but I need significant upfront capital for staff, equipment, and office space. Uncle Tom, who owned a moderately successful real estate agency, leaned forward with interest. Sounds like a solid growth plan. Have you secured the financing? That's when Lily's expression turned self-satisfied. Actually, I've already solved the financing challenge through creative resource allocation. Sometimes, successful entrepreneurs have to think outside the box and use available assets more strategically. I continued eating my food, sensing that this might involve me. My Aunt Sarah, who managed the finance department at a large tech company, looked impressed. Creative financing can be great if done right. Are you talking about alternative lenders or investor partnerships? Lily practically beamed. Even better. I identified an underutilized asset that can serve as collateral for a substantial business loan. Sometimes, the best solutions are right in front of you, but you need the vision to see the opportunity. My cousin Mia, a financial planner, asked, what kind of asset? Lily's grin widened. Audrey's car. It's been sitting in her driveway for months, barely used, so I listed it as collateral for my $95,000 business expansion loan. The room erupted in laughter and approval. My father clapped his hands. That's brilliant thinking. Why let valuable assets sit idle? My mother smiled, saying, "This is the perfect family cooperation." Lily's vision and Audrey's stable assets are a great combination. Cousin Ethan raised his water glass for a toast. Here's to Lily's business expansion and Audrey's contribution to family success. Smart resource utilization all around. What they didn't know was that as a federal law enforcement officer with top secret security clearance, all my assets, including my 2021 Toyota Camry, were registered in federal databases and monitored for unauthorized activity. Any attempt to use my car as collateral would trigger federal investigation procedures. Lily had just admitted to committing wire fraud, collateral fraud, and unauthorized use of federal employee assets in front of 26 witnesses, most of whom were encouraging her. She continued, "The loan approval process was incredibly smooth. Banks love lending against reliable collateral like late-model vehicles, especially when the owners are stable government employees with good credit." After dinner, as we were cleaning up, Lily pulled me aside in the kitchen. "Audrey, I know I should have mentioned the collateral arrangement before finalizing the loan paperwork. But I knew you'd overthink the legal details and worry about non-existent complications." I calmly replied, "I'm sure you put a lot of thought into it, Lily." She seemed relieved. "This is a win-win. The business will make a lot of profit, and I'll pay off the loan early. Your car's value will increase, and you're contributing to family business success." I looked at her directly and said, "I hope your business venture goes as planned, Lily." The next morning, at 9:43 a.m. My secure phone rang. It was my supervisor, Special Agent David Miller, the section chief of our money laundering investigations unit. He'd been in federal law enforcement for 18 years, working his way up from a field agent. "Audrey, I need you in my office immediately. We have a flagged transaction involving your personal assets that triggered automatic security protocols," he said. I walked to his office, passing by secure conference rooms where other analysts were briefing federal prosecutors. His office overlooked the parking garage, and I could see federal agents arriving for morning briefings. "Have a seat," he said, closing the door and activating the white noise generator. "Our automated monitoring systems detected unauthorized use of your vehicle as collateral for a business loan filed Friday afternoon." He opened a classified file and spread out loan application documents on his desk. The loan, approved by Capital City Business Bank for $95,000, listed my car as primary collateral, with Lily claiming to be my business partner. I reviewed the documents and saw Lily's signature and forged versions of mine on multiple loan agreements. "Agent Miller, Lily is my sister. I did not authorize her to use my vehicle or any of my personal assets as collateral." His expression shifted from concern to a professional focus. "This is collateral fraud and unauthorized use of federal employee assets. It triggers mandatory FBI involvement and federal prosecution under multiple statutes." He asked me if I had any prior knowledge of Lily's loan application. I told him I learned about it at the family dinner the previous day, when most relatives congratulated her on her resourcefulness. Agent Miller shook his head. She announced federal crimes at a family gathering with multiple witnesses. Several family members praised her for creative resource utilization. He then reached for his secure phone to initiate coordination with the FBI and federal prosecutors. At 2:15 p.m. Special Agent Emily Chen from the FBI's white-collar crime unit arrived at the headquarters. She specialized in financial fraud cases involving federal employees. "Agent Audrey, I understand your sister used your personal vehicle as unauthorized collateral for a business loan. Can you provide details about how you discovered this and any evidence of her admissions?" she asked. I gave her a detailed account of the family dinner, including Lily's financing strategy and the family's support. She took notes and asked about family members who witnessed or encouraged the collateral fraud. This pattern is common in cases involving federal employee assets. Family members often don't understand federal monitoring systems and enhanced penalties, she said. We'll be executing federal search warrants at your sister's business location and residence within the next 3 hours. Back to the present, I said to Lily on the phone, Lily, you admitted at family dinner that you used my car as unauthorized collateral for your business loan. That's federal collateral fraud, wire fraud, and unauthorized use of federal employee assets. She replied, but it's just your car in the driveway. I thought family helping family was legal. I explained, federal law doesn't recognize family relationships as authorization for using someone else's property as loan collateral. You committed serious federal crimes, and federal law enforcement agencies must prosecute. She panicked, what am I supposed to tell them? I calmly said, tell them the complete truth about your criminal activity and get a qualified federal criminal defense counsel immediately. Providing false information will result in additional charges. At 6:23 p.m. Lily was formally arrested and charged with collateral fraud, wire fraud, unauthorized use of federal law enforcement assets, and violations of federal security monitoring protocols. She was held at the federal detention facility pending arraignment. The bank, Capital City Business Bank, faced a regulatory investigation for approving the fraudulent collateral arrangement without proper verification. Lily's business office, leased with the fraudulent loan funds, was forfeited, and her corporate client contracts were terminated. My family's reaction was full of denial and misplaced blame. Multiple relatives called, disappointed that I'd destroyed Lily's business opportunity. My mother was especially distressed, repeatedly asking me to talk to my supervisors to dismiss the charges. At Lily's federal arraignment, she appeared in detention clothing, looking exhausted. Her court-appointed defense attorney advised her to plead guilty and cooperate to minimize her sentence. Federal prosecutors presented strong evidence, including Lily's admissions at the family dinner, testimony from 26 witnesses, financial records, and expert testimony on federal asset monitoring systems. The judge denied bail due to the seriousness of the charges and the potential for further criminal activity. During the pre-sentencing investigation, it was discovered that Lily had a pattern of exaggerating her business credentials and financial qualifications on loan applications. This eliminated any chance of reduced charges. 8 weeks later, Lily was sentenced to 3.5 years in federal prison, followed by 4 years of supervised probation. The judge ordered restitution of $125,000 to cover the loan amount, federal investigation costs, bank regulatory penalties, and administrative expenses. My position at the DEA was unaffected, but my security clearance was reviewed, and asset monitoring was enhanced. The monthly family dinners stopped after many relatives received federal subpoenas. Some family members faced additional scrutiny for their own questionable financial arrangements. I still drive my Toyota Camry, which is registered as a monitored asset. Family gatherings are now smaller and more cautious. Lily won't be released until she serves her full sentence, and some relatives keep their distance from me, blaming me for her imprisonment. My parents occasionally call, asking me to help with Lily's commissary expenses and legal fees for potential appeals. I explain the long-term consequences of federal collateral fraud convictions and the restrictions my security clearance places on me. Last month, I received a letter from Lily at the federal correctional facility. She wrote that she was starting to understand the seriousness of federal fraud charges but was still confused about why using family assets led to prison. I haven't responded, as federal employees are discouraged from corresponding with family members convicted of federal asset-related crimes, and my security clearance requires disclosure of all such contact. Some lessons about federal law and the consequences of financial fraud can only be learned through direct experience with federal prosecution and imprisonment. Lily is now learning about the harsh realities of collateral fraud, wire fraud, and the enhanced penalties for crimes involving federal law enforcement assets. The business expansion she dreamed of never happened, and my assets remain under enhanced federal protection.